Today at Commander Replay, after a rough game 1, Karador is looking for redemption against Yidris, Uril, and Braids. Can we safely execute our graveyard combo? Find out next on Commander Replay. Hey everyone, I want to take a quick second to thank my awesome Patreon supporters. We have 2 new Patreon supporters in Chaotix 2075 and, oh boy, looks like Zach Croto? Let me know if I got that one right. Anyway, you guys are awesome. If you want to help support the channel and vote on which decks I play next, feel free to check out my Patreon at the link below. Welcome back everyone, playing some more of Ben's Karador Ghost Chieftain deck. We made a lot of upgrades to this deck since the last time we've seen it, and we kept an opening hand that looks like this. We have 3 colors of mana, which is helpful. We have a Satyr Wayfinder to get us into some lands, Survival of the Fittest, really powerful, Hermit Druid, really powerful. In this deck, Hermit Druid won't hit the whole deck. It's more of a value play where we can hit 10 or 15 things at a time, so that's what we'll be doing with it. Later on this Woodland Cemetery, it will come in tapped, sadly. So turn 1 for the Braids opponent, by the way, they start with a Mana Vault. That's a pretty good opening play. And we do find ourselves in a game for strong decks. This deck, being pretty strong after the upgrades, has the Renegade Rallier combo in it, which can be pretty quick. And a Birds of Paradise coming down turn 1 for the Uril opponent. Opponent wants to know if they should cast Braids this turn. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. Yidris not actually known for playing tons of permanents, really. Uril's going to have some auras, which you really want Uril in play for. There comes Braids, so we'll find out. Artifact, creature, or land. So I'm going to put in the Satyr Wayfinder. Satyr Wayfinder will trigger. Really need to hit a land with this. There's some lands. Dackmore Salvage is, we can dredge that back if we need it. Thinking the Dryad Arbor since it comes in untapped. I guess it can't tap right away, so. Do we want to dredge? Unsure. I guess we dredge. Good to have lands. So that'll get us another land. We can make 2 land drops. Play the untapped land. Play the... I'm going to go for Survival of the Fittest. This opponent having some fun with the Braids. See what Yidris has. We did mill a Fleshback Marauder. That'll be helpful to get back at some point, I'm sure. Then we dredge 2 more lands with the Dackmore Salvage. Probably could have used the lands, honestly. Ooh, Staffing in. That's a good one. Shoot the birds? Makes me not really want to run the Dryad Arbor down there. Opponent will get the Scry off of the temple. No follow-up plays from our opponent. They shoot the Braids for 1. I totally would have shot the birds right there. Eidolon of Blossoms coming down for the Uril opponent. Hermit Druid also susceptible to the Staff of Nin. Not great. Gonna put a Rancor on the Eidolon of Blossoms. They'll get to draw another card, or the Eidolon now 4/2 off of the Rancor. Gonna put Messenger Speed. Enchant a creature has Trample and Haste to get to draw another card. Opponent probably looking for lands if they're going all in on that. And opponent now has Vigilance. Maybe they're not really worried about the card advantage that much since the cards are replacing themselves, essentially. Gonna swing into us. I'm actually gonna block with the Wayfinder. Get that into the graveyard. That way we can recur it if necessary. Let's see what Braids has in store for us. Oh, funny story. We can... we need to stop on upkeep. So we can Survival of the Fittest something huge into our hand with the... Oh, that's a Karador Leviathan. So that plan's not going to work. I was going to say that we could Survival of the Fittest something huge into our hand, like a Terastodon, and then have that cheat in with the Braids. Quicksilver Amulet for our opponent. Ugh. It's going to bring it back to our turn. We draw a Kasali Pride Mage. Seems like that might be a pretty good thing to use. It's affected by Summoning Sickness. Yep, that's a bummer. Which means we can't cast the Pride Mage this turn. What we can do is... We need green mana. We have a lot of green mana in hand, so we're going to play the Dryad Arbor right here. Nope, can't use it. And recast the Survival. Or we want the Deathrite Shaman. Deathrite Shaman gives us mana. I think we need mana. Let's play the Deathrite Shaman. Spring for our opponent. Search your library for a basic land. Put it on the battlefield tapped. Search your library. Then shuffle your library. And a Pearl Medallion for the Uril opponent. Sky Diamond for the Braids opponent. Opponent's going to swing the Leviathan into the Uril. Sure. It's going to bring it back to our turn. Ooh, Toxic Deluge, huh? We're going to hang on to that for just a second because there isn't actually that much on board yet. That'll be handy in a few turns, I think. Play the Dackmore Salvage. And right here I'm going to go for Survival. And we will try to Survival twice before the next turn. Limdol's Vault for the Yidris opponent. So opponent took more than 5 minutes to resolve that Limdol's Vault, which tells me maybe like Doomsday or something like that. And they drop some Lightning Greaves into play. Druid of the Anima coming into play, sure. No attacks from the Braids opponent. End step time, so let's make some mana. So we'll exile one of our tap lands. We're going to add green to the mana pool. Use Survival of the Fittest. Discard the Grave Troll. Let's get Zulaport Cutthroat. Use the survival one more time. Let's get rid of the Hermit Druid. I'm going to get Safi Eric's daughter. Brings it back to our turn. Do we want to dredge right here? Another land is probably actually more helpful than dredging. Not necessarily a great chance that we'll draw another land. Yeah, do we need the... I guess we dredge. Just hit an Elvish Mystic and discarded some stuff that we probably wanted. So we're going to turn this into double white. Going to play Safi Eric's daughter. Going to play the Pride Mage. It does look like opponent's sitting on a counter, by the way. Play the Pride Mage. And we'll pass turn like this. Basically what we can do is we can use the Pride Mage to blow up the boots after they cast their Yidris, and then get it back with the Safi Eric's daughter and shoot the Quicksilver Amulet. Although, they do have an Academy Ruins in play, but still having to recast Quicksilver Amulet will buy us a lot of time. So opponent going to cast their Yidris. Yup. Opponent going to try and equip the Yidris, and that's where we intervene. So exile a land from our graveyard, add green. Use Safi Eric's daughter on the Kasali Pride Mage on the boots, and Safi Eric's daughter will return the Pride Mage. Opponent says, nice play. Thank you. Still figuring this deck out. Made plenty of misplays last time I ran it out there, but feeling pretty good about the little sequence we took right there. Enlightened Tutor for the Uril opponent. Probably going to be looking at Uril this turn. Signet for the Uril opponent. Uril coming into play. And opponent going to use their Quicksilver Amulet. Let's find out what the biggest creature in their hand is. It's a Kozilek. Let's see who they want to kill. Fate Spinner for our opponent. At the beginning of each opponent's upkeep, that player chooses draw step, main phase, or combat phase. That player skips each instance of the chosen step or phase this turn. So we'll be skipping the combat phase. Opponent's asking who's scariest. I'm going to say Yidris. They spent like 10 minutes tutoring. Uril's always pretty scary. Yidris just scoops it, so... Oh, nice. Opponent's attacking into the Uril. We might be able to win right here, since we're not losing all of our stuff. Uril loses a lot of lands. They kept the dorks over the lands. Yeah, they should have sacrificed the dorks. Definitely. So Fate Spinner trigger on us. We're going to skip the combat phase. Do we need to dredge? No. Honestly, I would like to hit more lands, if anything. There's a land. Not the land we're looking for, though. Still too many tap lands in this deck. I know Ben talked about cleaning up the tap lands in the deck, and I wonder if this is the version prior to him cleaning up the lands, so that might be a thing. Well, run it out there. Play the Bajukabog. Uril's the only one with cards in graveyard, so go that way. Do basically need to figure out how to win right here. The other thing we could do is we could Toxic Deluge X12. It would hurt a bit, but Uril will be more or less out of the game. Braids would have some recovering to do. Don't know how many more big creatures they have left in their hand. Okay. So the parts we need of our combo, we need a Sack Outlet, which would be like this or a Seer. We have Zulaport Cutthroat in hand, and we need Renegade Rallier. So let's start tutoring for things. Let's get a Sack Outlet and the Carrion Feeder. Then we'll discard the Remorseful Cleric for Renegade Rallier. Then we will Toxic Deluge to kill all the creatures in play. So all the creatures getting killed. Uril's in a terrible spot. Yeah, they should have kept their lands and not the dorks. Unless you have like a 3-mana commander or something like that, where that getting something down on turn 1 really matters. I really don't love running the mana dorks because they're just so fragile. Opponent passes, brings it back to our turn. Not going to dredge right here. Oh, we draw land. Nice. Lands are helpful. Crack the Arid Mesa. Gonna get the Temple Garden, just because we've been pretty tight on green. Ooh, and that fetch land sets up the Renegade Rallier. Things are looking good. Things are looking very good. So, Renegade Rallier to get back Safi Eric's daughter. Oh, crap, we're 1 mana short. We can't get both Zulaport and Carrion Feeder down. Play the Carrion Feeder just so nothing gets exiled. And next turn, we're golden. Opponent's going to play a fetch, crack a fetch. Nice. Opponent didn't flash anything down with the Quicksilver Amulet. So that's what I was hoping, that after getting through 2 bigger creatures, that they wouldn't have any more in hand, because you can only have so many high drops in your deck, even if you are playing Braids. Wano's Coffin. What? Choose not to untap it. Exile target creature and all auras attached to it. Alright, might have to dance around some stuff right here. So it's going to bring it back to our turn. I'm actually going to dredge right here, so just so that we have a creature, in case we need a survival. There's an Unburial Rites, that's helpful. Try the Zulaport Cutthroat. Use Safi's ability on the Renegade Rallier. Zulaport will trigger. Sacrifice the Renegade Rallier. Safi will trigger, returning the Renegade Rallier. Zulaport will trigger. Renegade can bring back the Safi Eriksdottir. And Carrion Feeder will get a little bit bigger. Opponent's going to try and exile the Renegade Rallier, which is completely the wrong target. So, Safi on the Rallier. And opponent is disconnected. So we're not going to wait for them. Getting the combo off, turn 8, having to work through just a little bit of removal and some other things, but able to get there. So the Renegade Rallier combo in Karador is very powerful, because we didn't have a ton of lands. We missed some land drops along the way, and that's always a problem. But yeah, the new upgrade's working really well. I think Ben did mention that he cleaned up the lands in his deck list quite a bit, and I think he sent me the version where he hadn't done that yet, because I think he did get rid of a lot of the cycling lands, the Dakmor Salvage. Actually, no, Dakmor Salvage would say. But he did get rid of a lot of the come into play tap lands, because we were choking on those a little bit as well. The deck is really mana efficient now, so one of the things that comes along with being mana efficient is that you also just want untapped lands, so you can take advantage of that efficiency. But we're able to do a lot only casting 2 and 3 mana cards right there, so shows you the efficiency of this deck and what it can do. It doesn't take much. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, feel free to comment, like, or subscribe. Thank you for watching.